like, yes, you might give up, but there's always that spark, that sort of like that little sort of ember still there that can just reignite your life and continue. So never feel like you're alone, because you're not. Even if you just think of it as like your soul as this extra person with you, right? Or your higher self as this extra person. It's all like, nothing's going to let you fall so far that you can never recover. And even if that does mean that you dip so far into depression, you can still get up.
Where you're located at?
I'm Eastern Standard,
Okay.
so I'm in Canada, east side of
Oh,
Canada.
Canada.
I'm from England, so that's
Okay.
why my accent's really strange.
Right. Yeah. Canada, man. I've met a couple people from Canada. It's so I live a couple hours from the East Coast, and there's actually people who will drive down to the East Coast, like it's like an 18-hour drive. And I'm
Yeah,
like to the beach or whatever, It's like, it's crazy, because it's hard to imagine that it's that far away. Like 18-hour drive is a long drive.
yeah. Well, I mean, my friend, she just drove across to Vancouver, and it took her a few days to get out of the province. Like literally
Yeah.
driving all day, and yeah, it took her so long. We drive a lot.
Well, but I saw a map one time of Canada, and it's like most of the population, like most of the populated area is like South Canada, right? Like towards the southern part.
Yeah, it's sort of like
Canada.
southeast, and then sort of on the west coast. Like you
Okay.
have people in the middle and you have people in the north, but yeah, it's kind of like that east and that west is the
Okay.
most population, and then we have like the prairies in the middle where there's
Yeah.
just flat, and there's people
Yeah.
there, but it's just flat.
Well, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
I guess the U.S. is kind of like similar to that, because you have along the East Coast, it's like you have both coasts, like down both coasts. There's a lot of people, and then towards
Yeah.
towards some parts of the center. But then you have some spots. If you look at a map, like if you ever look at one of those maps, it's like that shows like the night light, the lights or whatever from cities.
Yeah.
Like you got lit up areas and then some just really dark areas. So,
Yeah.
but yes, I mean, it's interesting. I've never been to Canada or outside the U.S. That's one of the things I got several places I want to visit outside the U.S. But I've been to quite a few places inside the U.S.
Okay. Where outside of
Yeah.
the US are you thinking of going? What's your bucket list?
Yeah. So I kind of like Japan is on there for sure. Japan.
Mhm.
First, I say this and I don't really know why, but for some reason, Russia. I want to go see what's going on over there. I just feel like, I don't know, it's like a different culture. I feel like a different people.
Yeah.
I would say the UK, although maybe not London. I hear London's like not really violent, but like kind of not the place to be, I guess. I don't know. I've
No,
never been there, so I couldn't really tell you.
if you like big cities, London's huge. Like you can't just walk across it like in a day. It takes you days and days and days to see everything that you want to see, even just the
Hmm.
tourist stuff. So if you like big cities, absolutely. But no, like, I mean, like UK is so small in comparison to the States, but it's
Right.
got all these different like countries in it, right? So you go
Right.
to just one part and they speak different. They have a different accent,
Mhm.
they have different language almost, right? They have different words.
Yeah.
And it like you've got because it has been invaded by so many different places, so some bits are more sort of Viking and Norse, and others are more sort of French, and others are sort of Danish, and it's like they've been invaded from different parts of Europe, so they take on different parts of like the language and the culture. So each part of England or each part of Scotland or Wales or what have you is all different pockets
Yeah.
of people, and different foods, different like I said, different words, different accents. So yeah, it's very, very interesting to go and travel around. I would say travel it.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons like it's attractive to me, is because like there's a lot of different people in like a small like area. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
seems so diverse. Um,
exactly.
I don't know. I'd like to go visit Australia, see what's going on over there. Those people seem like
Me
they're
too.
having a good time.
That's
Yeah.
actually how I ended up in Canada, is I was going to Australia.
Oh, really?
I never got there. So yeah. So I just got stuck in Canada on my way to Australia. So I've still not
The only
got there.
thing the only thing like bad about Australia, and I've realized this once I started communicating with people from different time zones, is that like, you know, the Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern time of the US, a lot of the world operates on that schedule, regardless if they're in that time zone or not, you know. But like Australia is so far ahead, like I think they're like 16 hours ahead. And
Yeah,
so if you do something in their business hours and our business hours, it's really hard. It's like I think it's like 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. where I'm at is like 7 a.m. for them. So it's really hard to do things like and be respectful of each other's time. I think
exactly.
that's the only bad thing is like they're so far like time, you know, so far ahead time wise.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing some podcasts with some Australians, and it's either late at night for me, like sort of midnight for me, or it's like super early in the morning for them, or something
Yeah.
like that, like 7 in the morning, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a nap after this," And so yeah,
Right.
it's hard. But then I'm also in an Australian group, and he actually schedules the time for Eastern Standard Time
Yeah.
because he wants as much of the world to join this group. And if that means that I don't even know what time it is for him, but super early or super late for him, he doesn't mind because he gets Americans, he gets people in Europe, he gets all of these people, whereas he'd just get Australians, right? If he was just doing his Australian time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what it takes. I don't know, you know, but I mean, that's one thing I really like about doing this podcast, man, is I've met people from like everywhere, literally everywhere, all parts of the world almost, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so, and it's I think until you meet people who are from different cultures than you, like that's really how you just learn a lot about people that way. I feel like because like
Absolutely.
especially where I'm at in the U.S. the location that I'm at, like a lot of people sort of have a certain belief or like have a certain thought process or mentality about certain things, certain philosophy on things. And in these little small towns, man, it's hard to like get out of that if you've always been around that, if you've never experienced anything else, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying the belief or the thought is wrong. I'm just saying there's a lot more out there to explore that you could potentially, you know, be a better fit for you or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of like stuck. Like I'm on the right now. I'm on the outskirts of like a two major cities. I can be in either city in an hour. But I think I want to move to one of the two cities for that reason because I'm just like I don't know. I just consider myself maybe open minded about things. And there's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. A city is like if you look at a city, it's like symbolic of like potential. You know, like there's just a lot of potential there, and that
Yeah.
excites me. I guess.
It might be a bit of a culture shock though if you're not used to the city. It's quite loud and people are quite rude usually in cities.
Well,
Yeah, it
I
might be
don't
a
know,
bit
man. I don't. I don't really. Excuse me. I don't really see that. Where I'm at, I don't really see the. I mean, I guess maybe some people are rude in some of these cities, but like not in the southeast. I feel like at least that's been
okay.
my experience.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like
So
I would definitely say travel because like people that say, "Oh, I don't ever need to leave my beautiful little village that I was born and raised in because it's the best place in the world," but they've never traveled anywhere. And this was
right,
before like the internet and stuff. And it's like, well, you don't know. By all means, like
right,
go and travel and then come back and say, I live in the best place in the world, the best village in the world, because you've seen the world, right? Or you've seen a bit
right,
of it at least to be able to say that. And yeah, like you said, like just traveling, don't do the tourist stuff, like go and immerse yourself in the actual everyday people, go have
right,
dinner in an actual person's house rather than a Western style restaurant or something. Like actually immerse yourself in the culture and like the traditions and the food of the actual people that live there. And then you actually discover the country rather
mm,
than just sunning yourself on the beach that could be anywhere in the world and going to a restaurant that could be anywhere in the world. Like McDonald's is everywhere, right? You can just go to any
right,
McDonald's in the world and it's the same food. But yeah, you eat the food of the locals and you kind of like you get that sort of essence of the place and you get the spirit of the people and that's that's truly traveling, right? That's experiencing immersive experience. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much, like so many people, so many places, so much you could learn I mean, I don't know. And I'm not saying that like where you were born or grew up or whatever is wrong. I'm just saying there's different things out there that you can experience. And that's just I think that's it's exciting, but it's also too to know that like there are people who their cultures are different, like the way obviously the way they talk is different, everything is just different. And I
Yeah.
think that's sort of how we all can contribute our thing to humanity, is because we are so different, you know, in our cultures or, you know, whatever it is. So I don't know, it's just interesting to me, you know. um but then it's also that too of like, you know, never like not forgetting your roots or whatever. Like no matter where I go or what I do, or if I learn another language, which I'm trying to do actually, um, I'm probably always going to have this accent. So like that's so that's just like how it is.
Yeah.
Somebody told
What
me a couple
language
weeks
are you
ago.
learning?
What's that?
What language are you learning?
I'm trying to learn Spanish.
Okay, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
imagine like now Spanish in your accent.
Yeah, somebody told me a couple weeks ago. He was like, I was at Nashville this weekend for a country music concert, and I feel like you should have been up there." I was like, "Well, thanks, I guess. I don't know." But yeah, I mean, Spanish is Spanish is really, first of all, where I'm at, there's a lot of people that speak Spanish.
Yeah,
And it's a I think it's a unique language. It's kind of, there's a lot of similarities, I feel like, to English. Like there's a lot of like there's obviously there's differences, but there's some words that are like kind of the same.
yeah,
Um Russian is like it's a very different language. Japanese is a very different language. I've looked at both of those. Those are different languages. Uh but anyways, I actually took Spanish a couple years in high school, which was a while ago now, but you know, um, I mean, I don't know. It's just blended so much with like where I'm at in the
yeah.
southeast. There's like a lot of people that speak Spanish here. Uh, but anyway, if because I'll keep going down rabbit holes. So if you want to
Okay.
tell us who you are and introduce yourself, and then because I want to make sure you have the opportunity to introduce yourself.
Yeah. Just having a chat and just forgot why I was here.
Well, because I don't want to forget that, man. Because we'll go for an hour, and I'm like, damn, I didn't give her a chance to introduce herself. So I at least want to say, like, if you can introduce yourself, and then maybe we'll jump back in. Because I
Absolutely.
forgot.
Yeah.
Because I forgot. Because I was just going. You know, I just want to make sure you had that opportunity.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, so I'm Becca. Yeah, originally from England, now in Canada. And I do lots of things like holistic therapies and that kind of thing, all those healing modalities. And then I'm this really interesting thing called an Akashic Records practitioner and coach. And that's kind of a really cool thing where there's like this sort of library, energetic library, and I can help you go up there and we can discover all of your life issues and problems and answers to questions. We can do past lives, future selves. We can go to traumatic memories in this life, and it's all about healing and discovery and self-empowerment and stuff. So
Mm,
that's my thing. I'm, the weird witchy woman with all the crystals and the tarot cards, and yeah, I just like helping and healing people, and that's pretty much me.
okay. So do you do tarot readings?
I do, yeah, tarot
Okay.
and oracle and like pendulums, all those kind of divination type things. Yeah, I
Okay.
kind of dip my toe in everything, and I'm always learning. So I'll just like, if we talk again in a year, I'll probably have another load of stuff, as long as my arm, a list of stuff to tell you, oh, I
Right.
just learned this new thing. So yeah, always learning, always discovering new things, and always loving to talk to new people and discover like their ideas on things and their beliefs and their skills and stuff. Like I very much immerse, like we were talking earlier about immersing yourself in the culture, right, of that place and those
Hmm.
people. And yeah, that's how I love to be. Just, yeah.
That's interesting you say that, because I didn't know that before I said I wanted to visit like 5 different countries and learn 3 different languages.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that. Um, so All right, so I want to get back to tarot, but before I forget this, the past life, you mentioned past life.
Yeah.
So how do you explore that with a person? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So it's I just use the Akashic Records really. So unlike a sort of like a hypnotist or something, you're still able to open your eyes and chat back and forth like this, and we're still connected to that other world, let's say. You can get up, you can go get tissue to because it's emotional, or go answer the phone or whatever it is, and you're still connected. Um, and then from this kind of energetic place, we can then go off in different directions. So one of those directions is past life. And the way that I
Mm.
usually do it is I tell the person to see a timeline, and the timeline stretches out all the way in front, and that's their future in this life and potential future lives and stuff like that. The bit of the timeline next to you is the present moment, and then stretching all the way out behind you is your past in this life, and then all of your past lives going all the way back to the creation of your soul. So you don't need to be religious in any way, or if you are religious, it all kind of blends into everybody's belief. So I've had like very religious people in various different things, then I've had atheists, and they've all managed to go up here and they've all taken something from it. So it kind of it works for everybody. And yeah, and then we just kind of float down the timeline, and you'll know where to stop. So it's either a feeling or a light or a symbol or something is on the timeline to tell you to go into it. And then that's a part of a past life that is relevant to this life. So if you've got money problems or relationship problems or health problems, anything, or just like you're kind of stuck, and we can go in there and we can see this past life and discover why things are going wrong for you now, and we can fix it. Weird, huh?
So yeah. So I'm just trying to process all this. So I'm not really I haven't really heard a lot about this, like the past life, but I have talked and had conversations about like soul contracts, like I
Yes.
guess maybe what we decide before we come here is the
Yeah,
theory. So I'm trying to figure out, does that sort of play into past life? I mean, because if you
absolutely.
like, the way I understand it is, if you have a past life, that means that you were here before and you're here again for whatever reason. I guess that depends on the person.
Yeah, it's all about
I'm just trying to like
lessons.
understand it.
Yeah, so it's all about lessons your soul wants to experience. So if you want to go really weird, it's not always on Earth that you're reincarnated either.
Mm,
So if some people will be in different realms or planets, or as a different species, even like a different animal or something completely alien, for want of a better word. So you're not
right.
always reincarnated on Earth, you're not always a human. And human, like sort of earth school is really hard. So you're only here because you want the hard lessons, because earth's on that kind of third density where you get to experience pain and suffering and anger and jealousy and all of these lower vibration emotions and feelings. And it sounds really strange, but your soul wants to experience that, and it wants to understand what that's like, and it
Mm,
wants to see how it will react to that. Will it let those things break it and suffer with it, or will it transform it into a way of helping other people, or just rise above it and say, you know what, that's not my story. I'm gonna prove everyone wrong, and just because I've come from this, I'm gonna become this something greater. And it's all like it's like a video game, right? It's
mhm.
just your soul wants to play a game and see how far in the level it can get, and how good it can get before it's learned all the lessons that it wants. So as you said, the soul contracts are something that your soul has decided. So you have soul contracts and you have soul vows. Soul contracts are usually with other souls. So you get like a kind of deal with other souls to play out certain roles for each other. So that can be in a good way or a bad way. Like it could be like an abusive relationship or a toxic relationship that you're going to have together, and you're both playing out so that your souls can learn from each other from that relationship. Or it could be soulmates kind of thing. Like it could be a love relationship. It could be something where you're really close siblings and you have this great love for each other and you support each other throughout life, and how that plays out. And then your soul vow is more what you decide for yourself. So if in a past life, you took a vow of poverty and you thought money is bad, and so you say to your soul at soul level, I vow to never have money because it's the root of all evil. And then you carry that with you in all your reincarnations afterwards, and that's why you have money problems, because you've made a promise to your soul never to allow money to come to you because it's evil, right? And then you can break these soul contracts, you can break these soul vows in things like the records, or in with like past life hypnosis kind of stuff, like past life regression hypnosis. And you can break these, if you've learned the lessons, you can break them, and then you're suddenly able to have money flow to you better, or you have better relationships, or you have better health. And yeah, just going off on a tangent there because it's quite
Yeah,
a
no,
lot.
no, you're good. You're good. But the thing that gets me about this is, and I don't know really, like I said, I don't know much about the past life, as far as the soul contracts go, it's like if we, so if we are a soul essentially behind all of this, which I believe that we are,
Yeah.
and we come from a place that's like much, much better than whatever this temporary existence is, even if it's to learn a lesson or learn some kind of thing, why would it be worth our time to come here for that? Because we already come from a form of existence that's like so much better, or maybe so much more advanced, if that makes sense. It just like the example I always use is like, we see an ant hill and we see ants working or whatever. It would be like if we ourselves as humans, as advanced as we are, want to experience the life of an ant. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem like it's worth our time.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, maybe an ant has fantastic life. We don't know. But like,
With
but so that's one thing. And then it's like, if we come here to learn a thing, or we come here to improve or whatever, there are a lot of people, it seems like, whose motivation, well, there are people whose motivation in life, it seems like, is to improve and is to grow, to build a thing, a family, a career, or whatever. But then there's like also people who don't seem motivated by that. So it's like, what's those people like, what's the difference between a person who like is here and they're working towards something in their life and they're like, whatever, and a person who's not? Like, you see what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
I feel like
absolutely.
if we all came here for that reason, everybody would be like on the same mission, and there's like so many different people, like so many different missions.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this could go on a long time, so I'll try and keep it really short. So when you get reincarnated, like I said, you're not necessarily going to be on Earth. You're not going to be a human necessarily. There's all these different sort of levels, and Earth score is the hard score. It's really, really hard because it's that density. You get to experience the bad stuff as well as the good. So you've got that polarity of, like that whole thing of like, you don't know that something's good in your life unless you've experienced the bad, right? And vice versa, because you've got that all the time. You've got, well, this thing's really bad and now this thing's really good. And you go through this sort of beautiful dance through life. And when you get reincarnated on a sort of higher frequency realm or planet or whatever you want to think of it as, then you don't get those lower ones. You don't get hate and jealousy and sadness and grief. They just don't exist. They can't exist on those planes. So life is easier there. And then you've got higher ones where you can just manifest things into existence like that. Like, you're hungry, I want food, it's there in front of you. Like, it just, you don't have to even try. You don't even have to think of it consciously. It's just, I want this to happen and it's happened. I want that to happen and it's happening already. You're just this manifester. on these higher levels. And so your soul wants to experience all these levels, and there's some souls that don't. Some souls don't want to try the hard school, which we're in now. They don't want, because it is really hard. And so, to use your example of the people that you see, like the humans that you see that are, you know, going for something and making themselves better, yes, they're hopefully following their soul mission, and they're working through their lessons, and they're growing. Their soul is growing. And then you see the people that are not, and that's possibly because their soul has thought this will be easy, and like got all of these soul missions ready and was like, yeah, let's do it. And then they come down, and then they've never experienced the just being confined to a body before, let alone having all these emotions and sadness and even happiness and love. Like, it's just like it's all this stuff all at the same time, and it's too much. And so they didn't realize just how hard Earth School would be. And so that's why they suddenly freeze, or they're stuck, or they think, well, what's the point? And they don't excel in their soul missions and stuff, or they don't complete their task because it's so hard. So again, if you think of it like a video game, some people, you know, they're just going through the levels and they're doing really well, and then like now and then there's like a sort of big boss that's a bit hard and they struggle with, but then they defeat that boss and they're moving up the levels. And then there's other people that go, oh, this game's terrible. Like, I'm just going to give up, you know, like they just throw away the control, they throw away the game. Like, they're like, I'm done. Like, this is too hard, this game. I don't get it. And that's literally what it is, really. It's just like the soul is maybe bitten off more than it can chew. It didn't realize how hard it was going to be, and it just kind of gives up. And then it can either choose just not to do anything until this life is over, and then either come back and try again, or it can then take a break from the hard stuff and go to a nicer, easier level, and just live out a new life somewhere where things can just manifest instantly and everything's nice and pretty, and then maybe come back a few lifetimes later if they want, or just never come back here, because it's not a prerequisite. You don't need to have to come here. And there's many beings and many souls that have never been human, and they don't know what it's like to have this crushingness of being human, right? And so like your guides, for example, a lot of them were never humans, so they tell you, just do this thing, and you say, well, I can't, I've got a family, I've got a job, I can't just, you know, sit on a mountain and meditate 24/7. And they don't understand, because they've never been human, they don't understand life as a human, and the responsibilities and the feelings that go with it, and how you can't just instantly manifest. Yeah,
Okay,
we can
so
go very deep with that, but
not yeah. Well, this is interesting. I find this stuff very interesting, and that's why I explore these conversations on the podcast. So it's like, if I'm understanding this correctly, because I think a good way, like something we can all measure, would be finance. So
yeah,
like that seems to be a metric that we put on a person, whether or not they're successful or not. So let's say, if I understand this correctly, a person who maybe lives, lives in poverty several lifetimes away, they're like working themselves up to be financially successful, or like, very wealthy or whatever. Is that what this is like? This is like a
not
timeline, basically.
necessarily. Like, they may have chosen to experience poverty in one life. So say like this life right now, they have decided that they want to experience what it's like to live in poverty, to not have enough food, to not have enough money ever. And that's like a soul contract or a soul vow that they want to actually explore that. Or they might have said, like, I'm going to give myself like lots of opportunities to be able to have the money. Will I get them? Will I realize that there's these opportunities, and will I go for them? Or will I be too scared? Will I just want to stay poor because that's my comfort level? And then, the next life that they're in, they might be like, well, I've experienced poverty. Now I want to know what it's like to be rich. So they come back, someone that's, inherited a load of money, or literally they're born into this huge wealth, like they're from a royal family or something, and they've never ever experienced what it's like to be hungry, or never have to worry where money comes from. They don't even know what that's like. They've never worked a day in their life, and they want to experience that. So it's literally just the soul deciding what it wants to experience, and what opportunities and what lessons it wants to learn within that lifetime due to those situations that it's put itself in.
This episode is brought to you by Excel Coaching Academy. Hey guys, I'm really excited to let you know that I started a mindset coaching business. So what I want to do with this business is I want to help entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, leaders, and fitness enthusiasts or athletes develop the right mindset to increase revenue, improve business or performance, and overcome the challenges needed to become the best version of themselves. You can get more information about this by emailing info@excelcoaching.academy.
That makes
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. But then, like, I hear people too that say, like, I guess what we're talking about when we say, experience this life at, coming back to experience this life as something else, that would be like reincarnation.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've heard people say that reincarnation is a trap. Like if you're reincarnated, you're basically stuck in the cycle, and the goal, quote unquote, the goal is to break out of this cycle of this temporary, existence on Earth and go to the next thing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really interesting as well. So you can think of it like that your soul, when it dies in a lifetime, it has a
Mhm.
rest, and then it can decide what the next life is. Is it to be reincarnated here on Earth again and go back through Earth school, or is it to go somewhere else? But then, like you said, there's this sort of theory that's coming around again, quite recently again, where that light at the end of the tunnel is not, what we've been told. And if we
Right.
go to that light, then it's like it just shoots you back down into a new body, and there's no choice behind it. So that's a really interesting thing. And so the whole thing is, don't go to the light. When you die, don't go to the light. But then it's like, but then what? Like, what do I do? Where do I go? Like, obviously there's just a light, and then there's darkness. Like, it's but yeah, there's this whole thing now where it's like the light is like almost like that light to a fly kind of thing, and like pulling you in to trap you again. And the Earth score is a sort of energy plant where something is feeding off us, right? And like using our energy and our soul power to sustain them and to sustain their world and stuff. So that can get, again, really out there and deep and interesting. But yeah, like it kind of depends how you view it. Like even if that is what it is, you're still learning your lessons. You're still going through stuff as a human on Earth. Even if you're kind of trapped here, you're still growing as a soul, and you will get to
Mm.
that point where you've become so enlightened that they can't trap you anymore. Like they won't be able to entice you to the light anymore, because you've spiritually grown, and you're vibrating on such a higher frequency that you're just not part of Earth anymore. You can't go back to that density. And so, you know, for want of a better word, the evil powers cannot pull you back in, because you're above them now. Like your soul can't be trapped anymore. So you can kind of think about it in multiple different layers and multiple different ways. But yeah, that's a really interesting thing, and it's becoming more well known now about the whole trap.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's an interesting little hole to go down there.
like the interesting thing is that is interesting, but also another interesting thing is like, regardless of whatever somebody's belief is, whether it is they believe in this, what we're talking about, they believe in reincarnation, the soul contracts, or even religion, or if people believe that we're in a simulation, some sort of computer generated simulation,
Yeah.
It's like all these things in common, all these things have in common the belief that like whatever we are is temporary, first of all. And then
Yeah.
it's like there is some other higher thing, whether that's, you know, a god or an alien race, or if it's a computer simulation, whoever's behind the computer simulation, like there's
Yeah.
this belief that something else out there is sort of governing the reality as we understand it. And so like even though there's all these different thoughts, all these different beliefs, there's still those commonalities between those beliefs that like we're temporary. There's something else higher than us that's sort of pulling the strings. And I think also too, a lot of those people in those different spaces, they think that they believe that we have something inside of ourselves that's much bigger than us, that it's just limited. It's like the soul is limitless. I think everybody sort of believes that believes there is a soul. They believe it's limitless, but it's like it's limited by the computing power of the human mind. Like the human mind can only comprehend a very small portion of what the soul can experience. And so it's like we're limited by this biological mind. But I think a lot of us, regardless of what our belief is, we do feel that there is something else. Like there's something else to us other than like what we see right here. And so it's just interesting, like regardless of whatever the belief is or whatever your theory is or whatever, it's like we all have it all really comes kind of back down to that. And I think people explore it in different ways. Uh,
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you to go back to past life. Is it past life regressions? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah. You
Okay.
can say past life regression. Yeah.
Um, so when people have these past life, I guess it's like a belief or something that sort of carries over into this life. You know, again, this is one of those things that kind of overlaps with other beliefs, because whether you believe that or not, it's kind of hard to not believe that we do have limiting beliefs and we do have beliefs about ourselves that seem like they come out of nowhere. You know, it seems like these things, like I mean, like some people are born with depression, anxiety, and understand all that stuff, but it's
Yeah.
like a lot of times we have these beliefs or these feelings or these emotions, and there's no logical reason behind it, you know. And so it's like, where does this stuff come from? Does it come from another experience, that from a different life that we don't know about? Like you mentioned, and I hate to keep bringing up money, but I think this is a good one for everybody to
Yeah.
understand. Like you mentioned about like limiting beliefs about money. Like, you know, a lot of people have a belief about money that really can determine their financial outcome in life, you know.
Yeah.
And so like, what I mean, I know we touched on it a little bit earlier, but like when somebody has something like this, how do you, if it's something they've had for like I guess several life cycles, how do you attempt to break that? Because I think like from my understanding of it, I look at it in generational cycles, which I guess is kind of the same thing. You know, if it's
Yeah.
been something that's been going on for generations in your life, or you know, in your family, it's still
Yeah.
kind of similar. But I don't know. I imagine that's a tough cycle to break if it's something that you sort of, I guess, carried
Not
over or whatever.
necessarily. Yeah, it is kind of interesting because so we go up into your Akashic records, we talk to your guides, and they're kind of like the librarians. They tell you where everything is up there, right? And so what they do is they take you to a past life where it all started, like that sort of event that happened that created this block. So in this analogy, what made you not want the money to come to you? What gave you that sort of ick with the money? What is it about money that you don't like or have a problem with? And so you go to that lifetime, and they show you events that led up to it, or the actual event, or what happened in that lifetime. So you can maybe just see one scene, or you see multiple scenes in that life. And some people experience it in the body of that life, and so they're looking out of their eyes. Others, they're kind of like standing back and just watching it. And then others, it's almost like they're watching it on TV, like a movie play out. So whichever way you're experiencing it, you're understanding what happened to your soul. And then other times it's over multiple lifetimes. So you'll be shown, okay, this lifetime this happened, and then this lifetime this happened, and they're all kind of building on top of each other to create this huge, like, sort of barrier for you of like, no, I don't want the money, like keep it away from me, it's horrible because, you know, this lifetime I took a vow of poverty, and this lifetime someone stole all my money, and this lifetime my partner like killed me for my money, you know, like all this kind of like stuff all built up on your soul, and your soul just said, this money thing is not for me, like I'm done
Mm.
with that. And the reason that probably that you've started asking that question, you've gone into your Akashic records to ask why am I no good with money, or why is money never flowing to me, is because it's time now to let go of that. You've either learned that lesson lifetimes ago and you just kind of held on to it because it's comfortable and you forgot to break it, or to null and void that contract, or you learnt the lesson in this lifetime, something happened in this one, or just being there and looking at all the different points where you formed this belief about money has shown you why, and you can now release it. So what we do in the same session, usually, sometimes no, very rarely no in that session, but usually in that same session, we will then say, well, it's time to break that now because you've learnt your lesson, or you learnt it lifetimes ago and just forgot to let go of it. Are you ready now to let go of it? And most people will say, yeah, absolutely, I want my money, you know.
Yeah.
And so we go through this whole process. Usually they'll show you a scroll or piece of paper with like your signature on it or a mark on it or something, and that's your soul contract. And they'll get you just to rip it up, and usually it's like throw it into a fireplace, or there's like a little campfire in front of you and you throw it in there or whatever, and you watch that just disintegrate and go and turn into ash. And then they do like a healing thing for you where they just fill in all the holes that's kind of left in your force field, in your soul, whatever you want to think of it as. It's kind of like taking something out of you, right? So they're filling it all in and then making it all, smoothing it all out for you. And then after that, that then starts trickling down into your physical form, into this life. And that can be instant. Some people it's instant. Some people it's few days. Some people it's few weeks. But pretty much not very long, people will start to notice that money is flowing better to them, or they suddenly come into a load of money and they're able to keep it for the first time, rather than just, well, I've come into money and now it's all gone because I spent it, you know. And they
Mhm.
realize that they're better with money, or money is just flowing to them more, or they get a promotion at work, you know. It All this starts to happen for them, and that's because whatever had happened in that past life or past lives to create this block, or this contract or this vow that they've made, has suddenly been made null and void. It's gone from your soul forever now, and you can now enjoy the money. So yeah, it is pretty weird and out there, but I've done it so much now that it works, and it works different for everybody, but it always happens. It always plays out how it should, and it always turns out positive.
Yeah, there's man, there that's such a it's so crazy to think about
Yeah.
that. But here's the thing, and I don't think people think about this enough. You can say that you want a thing, whether it's love or money or whatever, but like if you don't really believe that you're capable or worthy of it or whatever it is, you will probably unconsciously sabotage yourself from that
Yes.
thing. And it's like but like we're not, unless you're aware of that, you just see it as, oh, it's not meant for you.
Yeah.
But it's like it's very possible that you, in this life, in this physical existence, you might be doing something to keep yourself from that very same thing that you claim that you want you know and it's
Absolutely.
like and it's like dude, it's like we it's almost like we perpetuate that belief, whatever that belief is internally, that maybe we're not, unconscious of,
Yeah.
through sabotaging ourselves out of it. I mean, and it's
Yeah.
it's like if you could take a step back and just see that, like I feel that that's it's liberating almost, for people to see
Yeah.
that for themselves.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like some people, they come to me and they say, I have poor body image, like, because, you know, my parents were always telling me that I was fat or ugly or whatever. And so that is my issue. And that's what I need to get over. And we go into the records and it wasn't that at all. Like, yes, that, you know, encouraged it and kept that more in their mind. But it was actually just some stranger on the street just went past and was like, oh, look at that ugly child or something, like when they were in, like, you know, like the stroller going down the street when they were like 1 or something, or it was from a past life or something. And it's just something that's continued in this life. And because you believe so much that you're fat or ugly or whatever, the body image thing, or useless and no good for anything, like, you keep that going in this life and you're attracting people to you, or you're asking other souls to come to you and keep reminding you of that, so that it says, hey, this is the lesson that you need to be learning. This is the thing you need to wake up from. You're not useless. You're not fat. You're not ugly. You're you. You're wonderful, and you need to snap out of it. So they'll keep sending you these people that keep testing you,
Right.
so that you can suddenly be like, 1 minute, enough now. Like, I don't believe this anymore. I don't want to believe it anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that involves a lot of self-worth and doing lots of work on yourself, and doing lots of the self-love stuff, which is extremely hard. But if you can do that, then especially if you can go into something like the records, where you can get at it from a soul level and really pinpoint what has happened, and to get rid of that and to smooth all of that out, it becomes a lot easier for you. So yeah, it's just so interesting, all the different things that we have, and we don't even realize where they came from or why we have them. And they're very simple on a very base level, but to actually overcome them takes a lot of strength to just say, I'm ready, right? To actually like
Yep.
to actually stand up and say, okay, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, man, so I want to dive into this made me think about this when you were talking about the self-love thing. I want to dive into love really quick because I was having a conversation with somebody I don't know, a week ago, a couple days ago, and we were talking about like this philosophy of love, like, you know, when we find somebody, an intimate partner that we love, that we care about, it's like we fall in love with that person, you know. And people think that people say like my soulmate, like my person I'm supposed to find here on earth or whatever. And man, I don't know. Like, so I definitely believe in love. I believe that two people can love each other and they can share that love. But it's like, okay, so what if that we come from a place of like just pure love that we can't even begin to describe, whether that's, you know, I believe it's God. Some people believe it's other things, but like just a pure love, that's where we come from. And then when we come here, we're like so detached from that that we look for that here. We look for that here. And the only way we can really find that is through connection with another person until we, you know, ascend back to that place. So what's your thoughts on that? Like, what if that's like, because I mean, when you say that, I think people think that like you don't believe in love between two people, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, what if that longing that we're sort of searching for here, when we you know, we want to connect to another person, and then we find that person, it's like it's nowhere near like what it was before we got here to that connection, that higher power, but it's like it's sort of similar to it. You know what I mean? It's like the best thing that we could have here on this temporary existence.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So there's this whole thing of we're all one. All the
Right.
souls,
Yeah. Yeah.
not just here on earth, but everywhere, are
Right.
all connected to God or source, or that original, right? And it's just
Right.
this one thing,
Yep.
energy ball of love. It's just like cast out all these little parts of itself. And so we always have more than one soulmate, and it's not necessarily a romantic soulmate either. A soulmate could be a really close relative or a best friend, and you have multiple soulmates. You also have things like twin flames and karmic relationships and stuff, and these are all souls that you've sort of attached to. And again, this goes back to like past lives and things where you're kind of helping each other grow. So you kind of have a little group of souls that
Right.
have decided to be nice to each other or not be nice to each other in different lifetimes to help each other expand and grow. And the idea is that your soul just advances and awakens and gets more powerful, so that you're always growing and learning and getting back to that original source. So
Right.
that whole sort of like age of Aquarius and stuff that we're meant to be going into now, I don't know if you're knowing about that, but it's like this whole big awakening on Earth now, where we're all meant to ascend and get enlightened more and wake up the earth, and the earth will get more enlightened, and we're going to vibrate on higher frequencies. We're going to leave behind those lower ones, right? So the whole point of that is to realize that we're not this one anymore. Like before, it was like we were very much looking out for us and how do I survive, how do I get money, how do I eat, how do I get my house, and we're going into this thing where we realize that everybody is all part of us. Like we're all part of this original source. And we're like, if I'm mean to you, then I'm hurting myself as well.
Mm.
I'm not just hurting you, there's damage happening to me as well. So if I'm nice to
Right.
you, I'm being nice to me also. I'm if I give somebody a hug, I'm giving myself a hug too, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's very much about like, yes, you have soulmates and stuff, but it's not that one true love kind of thing. It's like reminding, like you said, like it's reminding you of that far off, but like that's why we have religion. That's why we believe in God, or just sort of a higher power or something, because we want that connection to that purity and that place that we came from. And the whole enlightenment movement and stuff is to realize that each soul is just a little snippet of this divine, and we're all part of it, and like we're all going to grow together. We're all mirrors of each other, and we're all this huge oneness, and that's how we're trying to get back to that pureness, and that like that where there's no hurt, there's no illness, there's nothing nasty. It's just all light and positive and stuff. Like there's realms that aren't that polarity. There's realms that are
Mm.
just ecstasy. They're just beautiful, and that's what we're longing for, is that pureness of our soul. We want to go back to that pure love.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense though, because and it's not just like I say this about an intimate partner, but it's not just that. Like there's also other things in that we experience in life that sort of gives us like this moment of like bliss or peace or joy.
Yeah,
Like people pray and people meditate, and we literally have the human mind is is designed to have chemicals released in a certain way that makes us feel pleasure. And so like
yeah,
it's like whether it's through religion or through love or through, building a career or whatever it is, all these things sort of, it's like we're trying to get like it's almost like we're chasing that experience of true pleasure or true joy. And I don't think it's not just because it feels good. I think it's much deeper than that. Like it's much deeper. It's not just because we enjoy that feeling of that joy or that peace or whatever it is. I think it's like because that is where we come from. And I think we're trying to feel, it's almost like we're trying to feel, I want to say almost like normal or what we experienced before we get here,
yeah.
It's like
It's
it's like, and
longing
that's
to
why
go
we're,
home.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, and like these things, even though they're great, like, love and achievement and all these kind of things are great, but it's only like a snip. It's only like a percent, like a small percentage, a very small percentage of like what we experience in that existence. You see what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah,
it's like we're just trying to get back to that source, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just crazy, man. Like when you think about it that way, and you flip it that way to say like we're basically just motivated by trying to get back to that source energy or that divine being or that divine experience or existence, whatever it is. It really like I don't know. It's like I don't want to say it's depressing because it doesn't. It just puts a different spin on it. It puts a different spin on it when you think about it that way versus like, these things are individual and they're not like related to each other or whatever. I think they definitely are. I mean, like I said, I
Yeah.
think we're just motivated by that. Um, Before we close, I wanted to ask you about tarot reading. So we talked about past life, we talked about soul contracts. So when you do a tarot reading with somebody, what are you communicating with something, or are you yourself communicating? Is the person communicating? Like what's going on in a tarot
So
reading?
tarot, so I kind of teach it as well, so I can speak
Okay.
on multiple different levels on this. But at the end of the day, tarot, it's you're not communing like it's Hollywood would like us to think, like we're not communicating with the devil or whatever or a spirit
Right.
or something. It's not like a Ouija board. The tarot is symbols and colors and things that trigger stuff from your subconscious, right? So when you're pulling the cards, it's mirroring something back to you. So I can use the same deck for years, and then one day I'm going to pull a card and I notice this one little thing on it, like this tiny flower, and that's all that jumps out at me from this whole card, and I've never even noticed this tiny blue flower before, and so that's trying to give me that message. And so anyway, so the tarot is a way of communicating with your mind and helping your mind make sense with it. So when I'm pulling the cards, I'm having a conversation sort of with my cards. It's like telling me a story in picture form, and it's forming images and words and things in my mind, and it's kind of putting it all in order for me. So if I'm pulling them for me or pulling them for someone else, they are communicating with me, but not from an external force. They're internally connecting to something inside of me that is linking the narrative for me. So I can put these cards out and I'm reading a story for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, so it's just a way of tuning into my intuition, I guess. So that like that knowing, and I'm able to then say, this is what the cards are saying, because the order that they come out, the things that I notice in the cards, and just the sort of internal monologue that's going on inside my head is all telling me the answer to your question, or the way forward for you, whatever the reason that we're pulling the cards. So that's why whenever I teach, I will maybe do a spread for somebody. I'll put the cards out and I'll say to all my students, don't say it out loud, just write down your answer to this. And then I'll go around and I'll get everybody's answer, and they'll all be different. Like some of them might be similar, but they're all different answers. And people are like, oh, I got it wrong. No, it's the cards communicating with different parts of each of you. So you're all getting slightly different answers, but it's communicating just to you. And so I don't want my students to be this cookie cutter learning this card means this and only this. Like, we'll go through the basics of the cards, but at the end of the day, if this card always means this one thing to you, and then one day you're going to draw it and it's going to mean something completely different, go with that, because it's communicating with a certain part of you that's got an answer that's completely different to what you're told this card is meant to mean. It's just going to be interpreted the correct way when you're in tune with your deck and you have this kind of bond with it. It's almost like, it sounds really weird, but it's almost like it's another person. It's like a friend that you go to for answers, and it's going to be super honest with you. It's like a super honest best friend that's just going to call you out. Like if you're asking a stupid question, it's going to call you out on that. It's going to say, well, you know the answer and it's this, so it's this communication that you have, and it can be really lovely. And it's just as with a person, it's getting to know that deck and understanding its little nuances, its little ways of communicating with you and how it likes to communicate with you. And that's why you have your favorite deck, or a deck that you go to for money matters, a deck that you go to for love matters, because they communicate, or they like to talk to you in certain ways. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like we don't have. I guess we don't have time to get into that, man. But it's just always fascinated me about like I've seen people do tarots online and stuff, and um, it's sort of fascinating. I don't think it's not that it scares me. I think Ouija boards though are definitely like I would never do one of those because I don't want to communicate with something that is negative or on the negative spectrum. I mean, I
Yeah.
just I don't know, and I mean, people might say that about tarot too. I don't know, but I just don't like if I pray or if I meditate. I believe that is to a power, a benevolent power, a good power. It's not to something that's evil.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I personally I'm careful with that kind of stuff. Like I don't really like to. I don't know what this is a very bad pun, but pun intended. I don't know what possesses a person to just go out and buy a Ouija board and to like try to go across the board, go across the thing and like do all this. Like I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is a possession. I don't know. Uh,
But I mean,
but yeah, I
that's the
mean,
thing with the Ouija boards, because like tarot, Hollywood's made them out to be something that they're not, right? So when you're watching a Hollywood movie or something, whenever they're doing tarot cards, they always get the death card and the devil card. It's like, oh no, someone's going
yeah,
to die. And that's not what those cards symbolize anyway. If you go just literally like, what is each card meant to be? Like, death is about change, because as we were just saying with past lives, it's not the end of it, it's just a new beginning. And so the death card in tarot is like past lives and reincarnation. It's like
mm,
literally a change is coming. It's going to be a nice gentle change, but it's going to be a necessary change. It's not going to be this big
right,
forceful thing. Like, that's the tower card. The tower card is this big change is coming, and you just don't fight it, because it's just going to crumble, right? But the death card
right.
is always just this gentle change, and this good for you change is coming. And but yeah, like Hollywood will tell you, oh, the death card, oh my gosh, someone in this movie is going to die now because they drew the death card. And yes, the Ouija is very different, and a lot more dangerous, because people use it without knowledge of how to use it. But again, Hollywood has told you that it's this big scary thing, when it's not. It's actually a very good tool when you know how to use it, when you know how to protect yourself and anyone else using But it's like, people are so now told that Ouija boards are evil, and they use it as like a sort of dare game now, and they're not using it correctly. And that's when you call in the negative things, and that's when bad things happen, because you're not taught how to use it properly. So yeah, so all of these kind of divination things, we've been told the incorrect way of using them, or what they actually are. And so that
Mm,
scares us. And so, because we're scared, that brings in the negative as well. When we're scared and worried, it's like when you see a dog and they say, like, don't panic, because the dog will pick up that you're scared, right? So
right.
then the dog will attack you because you're panicking. It's
Hmm.
that kind of thing. If you go into something like this terrified, then you're going to be calling in or inviting in these negative aspects, right? But if you go in with the knowledge, or you go in with someone that has the knowledge of it to be able to protect and to guide and to do it properly, then they're all extremely good things to use as tools for guidance and for knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of talk about like communication here, and I think like us communicating either with a source or a divine being, or communicating with people who might be on uh a different different path of their evolution than we are. I think it's like, I think it comes down to communication. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's how we grow as a species, really, as humans. You know, um,
Yeah.
because I don't know. I've had a couple conversations on here with people who are like different coaches and stuff like that, and it's like it's everybody seems to try to be helping somebody who was in a similar situation than to what they used to be in, or at one point they were in. Like, I know with my coaching, it's like I try to help business owners, entrepreneurs, people in that space, because that was my experience. That's been my experience, and so I think that if we go through these things, or if we have these experiences, or whatever it is, and we have that experience, and we grow through that as a person, I think that's only part of it. I think another part of it is sort of helping somebody else that's in that spot, helping somebody
Yeah.
else that's sort of there now, and using your experience. But I think that's another power that we have, really, as people, because, like, we're all here and everybody's trying to figure it out, and there's just like so many questions, like so many different things. And at the end of the day, I think I think what we have is each other. We have that connection to other people, and
Yeah.
everybody can help somebody else in another way. And I think that's what a lot of this comes down to. But it's been really nice talking to you today. Do you have social media, website, or anything?
I do. Yeah, so social media, you can find me on Instagram, and that's Holistic Becca, or Facebook is Ember Healing. And then there's like a link tree there, and that can send you to the website and any upcoming events and things like that as well. It's also got my WhatsApp and everything on there, and people can
Okay.
book a call with me or whatever and just have a chat like this. Like, I have like consultations and stuff where people can just
Okay.
say, I don't know, this is what I'm stuck with. Like, what do you suggest? And if I can't help, then I can, just put them on a path forward, right? And say, like, have you tried
Right.
maybe looking into this thing? And I can maybe put you in contact with someone who's good with that. And yeah, I'll just talk about all of the things that I'm passionate about. And if people want to listen, then hopefully I help them with that. And the whole point is to get the person to empower themselves, right? It's all to get
Right.
them to understand for themselves. Because yeah, I find, like, with the tarot, for example, if I just tell you something, you're not going to do it. But if I do something like the Akashic Records, where they see for themselves, they're more likely to implement what's discovered in that session, because they've come to that conclusion by themselves, or they've been prompted, but at the end of the day, they've understood better than if I just draw out some cards and they say, oh, that was pretty, and that was a fun 30 minutes to an hour, and thank you and goodbye. And they don't incorporate it. So I prefer to do the Akashic Records, because it puts the power back into you, right? And you can step out in the world and take control of your own destiny and your own life and your own lessons. Yeah.
So one thing that I ask everybody before we close, if you could share one of the most important lessons you've ever learned, and it could be
Oh
from your
gosh.
personal life, if you're comfortable sharing it, or your career, what do you think is one of the most important, most valuable lessons you've ever learned?
So I would probably say, like, just having that knowledge that you are sort of held and supported by that other thing that we were talking about today, whether you want to think of it as God or source or the universe or whatever. Like, nothing's gonna let you fall so far that you can't recover from it. Like,
Right.
yes, you might give up, but there's always that spark, that sort of like that little sort of ember still there that can just reignite your life and continue. So, never feel like you're alone, because you're not. Even if you just think of it as like your soul as this extra person with you, right? Or your higher self as this extra person, it's all like, nothing's going to let you fall so far that you can never recover. And even if that does mean that you dip so far into depression, you can still get up. You can still climb out that hole. It's going to be hard, and you need to put in that effort too. You can't just like, oh, just, help me God, and just sit back. But yeah, like, you need to help yourself also, but you have that external support as well as your internal higher powers too. Yeah, it kind of put me on the spot a little bit, so I hope that made
Yeah.
sense. But like, yeah, it's just
No,
that
no,
whole
you're
sort of
good.
yeah,
I mean
your life
but
is
that is
yeah,
really powerful though. Like when you think about that being on your, like that being supporting you basically.
yeah. Like your life is not the one and only thing, right? Like it is, like we've
Mm,
been saying, it's the lesson. And
right.
yeah, you might fail the lesson, but then you get other opportunities, right? If you keep thinking, oh, what's the point? And you just go further and further the wrong way, it's going to be harder to get out. But there's always going to
Mm,
be something there to help you, like give you strength, give you that strength
yeah.
to move higher. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I love that, man. Um, but yeah, it's been a really good conversation. I need to talk to you about your upload just really quick, if you can hang out for a
Yeah,
second. But I do
absolutely.
appreciate your time. And
Yeah, thank you.
hey guys, I really appreciate everybody tuning in today. If you found this content or this episode useful and intriguing, you can visit us on social media. This is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple and Google Podcasts. Pure Wisdom Podcast on all social medias. You can interact with us, follow, like, and share there, and we will see you guys next time.